Hi, I'm here with my aunt, wherever you live, however you say it. This is my Aunt Troy, and this is her garden. I just wanted you to kind of tell us about, first of all, how long have you been gardening this way, and tell us a little bit about the method that you use and the ideas.
Okay, I got started with gardening in 2014 when my father passed away. This was his garden spot. And when he had it, it literally was nothing but weeds. He tried his whole life, he worked hard, but he didn't know how to garden this way. It's not that I'm so good, it's that this system is this good. I've been gardening now 6 years. One of the things that I teach when I teach this method is start with a plan, start with a master plan, and stick with your plan. I had only one box and one overhead the first year, and I had 1 square foot box that was 4 foot by 4 foot, and instead now I have this. Start with a master plan, have it on paper, sketch it out so that you know, so that you're not repeating yourself. When I built my first box, which is this one over here, that is built out of just junk rough sawn lumber that I just pulled off the scrap pile. And I just cut the boards and got started. The best thing you can do in gardening with any method is to start. Don't wait till next year, don't wait till you learn everything. Buy some seeds and get started, or buy some plants and get started. Because you can't learn if you don't start.
Right, that's true with anything, right?
True with anything, especially with growing. I teach heirloom seed saving and building a seed bank, and it's always funny because I'll talk to someone and they'll say, I have a seed bank. And I go, turn loose of it. Plant some of them. It's not as easy as you might think to grow food, and then you have to learn to keep it protected from each other so you don't get cross-pollination and you don't have disease in your plants. And then how do you save the seeds so you have it year after year after year?
Well, could you give us a tour, show us around, and kind of show us how everything is working here? You have a lot going on.
I do.
So.
My mother, who is my partner in the garden, is turning 90. She just turned 90, and she is certified in this method. And last year she grew a garden just like this, all by herself.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, I was just saying, like, I'll tell people my grandma's 90, and they always say, wow. I say, she's not that kind of 90.
Not kind of.
She's a different kind. Okay, so.
She is. Well, come on in. One of the key elements in the Mittleider system is that we grow vertically. Anything that can be grown up, the plants get more light, they get more air, they get more breeze. So they're healthier. As you can see, this is quite a healthy tomato plant. And it's almost as tall as I am. And this is an early girl tomato. So usually they grow about this big, get a bunch of tomatoes on them, a lot of plant, and they fall over because people cage them. Tomatoes would much rather grow vertically than in a cage. They get a lot more of what they need, including more pollination, more sunlight, and more space.
So now, like, when they grow up, will they continue to grow over?
Good question. Because we live in Michigan and we have a short growing season, when this one reaches the wire, I will clip the top off because I want the plant to put all of its energy into ripening everything that's on it.
Right, okay then.
I want it to finish growing what's here, and I want it to ripen, vine ripen everything, rather than we're going to have a bunch of marbles on the windowsill in the kitchen.
So the bigger it gets, it like spreads its energy out to produce instead of condensing it? Is that kind of how
It will continue growing new tomatoes until you stop it, or until the frost stops it.
Oh, okay.
In Michigan, the frost would stop it before the plant would stop.
Right.
So I want the plant to stop when I'm ready because I know that winter's coming. So when it reaches here, I just know because of experience that I've got maybe 8 weeks, maybe.
Okay.
Probably 6 So I'm going to cut, this probably will grow a couple more of the blossom
And
hands.
how old are these right now?
Good question. I planted these the 1st of February, which is a month earlier than they typically tell you to. I grow them in a spare bedroom. I grow about 1,500 plants in a spare bedroom because I don't have to heat it. It's already heated. So I put light boxes in there, just made out of wire shelving and shop lights. Just get LED shop lights. You don't have to put a lot of money into it. Don't buy the fancy grow lights and all that. Get LED shop lights and put them in a wire shelf and get wheels with it, because you'll want the wheels on us, because that way you can turn them around, you can move them. I spill things in the grow room a lot, so I just pull the whole thing out, sweep the floor, and wheel it back to the wall, plug it back in. So you're talking, instead of $200 or $300 or $400 for a 4-shelf grow light, you're talking more like 100, 150 maybe, and that's a one-time investment. You're going to use that. Mine are 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and 18 inches deep. I have 3 now, but last year was the first year I used all 3. And just paint the room a light color. It doesn't look much like a bedroom anymore, but and put waterproof on the floor. I just have tile. Let's talk about some of the varieties that I have. I always experiment with 1 or 2. Early girls are the only hybrid that I grow on a regular basis. And the difference between heirloom and hybrid, there's heirloom, hybrid, and GMO. It's a completely different conversation for all 3. Heirloom plants and seeds are ones that will grow a plant that grows fruit, and you can take the seed from that and it will grow the same plant. If I took this early girl, a tomato from this, and I saved the seeds, it's not stable, so it might grow one that's this tall and one that's this tall and one that's this big and one that, they're just not stable seeds, so I may or may not get food from it.
So now will these become like these? Will they go up that high? You won't raise this, will you?
Yeah, we thought this variety was going to stay below the wire. We did not start because of the party today. However, by Wednesday, this will have the same overheads that this one does.
Okay.
And we will put them in right around the plants, and we will tie these up. You just untie it, pull it, and we will tie these up, we'll wrap them, and tie them up to the wire up here.
Now, who does most of the building structure?
I built that.
Dang, look at you.
Yeah, I built that, and I'm really glad that my husband let me struggle through it.
Yeah, because now you're a pro,
You
right?
better, yeah.
Well, because when I went down for my certification, I already knew what I was talking about.
Right.
Because he let me wrestle with it and get frustrated with learning to use the tools. And it's funny because we had about 10 different ideas of how to tie a knot down at the boot camp. This is a safety knot used for horses. It's 1 loop. It's the best one we all came up with.
Yeah, I know how to do this knot.
Yeah, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody should know this knot.
Yeah.
This knot, which is just a loop over and a loop, and a square knot if we're connecting 2 strings together.
Yeah.
It's the same right over left, left over right, makes a square knot, neat and tight.
Yeah, I'm gonna focus.
Look what I made.
Okay, you just come up from behind. We have wind, so I'm going to go around again. Just kind of reach back here and pull. That's all there is to it. And the more the plant pulls down on here, the tighter the knot.
Yeah.
Tighter the knot gets.
Nice.
That's the safety knot they use for horses. You have a plant that looks like this. The string for this plant is all the way down here. If this plant gets any fruit at all up here, which it will because it's here and here, that'll snap that right off. So before these start to form, we have to have them up.
So I heard that you have a very unique soil and watering system. Tell us a little bit about the soil you use and how you water your plants.
Okay. The soil that I use is a combination of sawdust and concrete seed. It's 3/4 or 75% sawdust and 1/4 or 25% concrete sand, and you just mix it together. That's what's down here in the boxes, and it's just so soft and easy to work in. Yeah, it's very easy to work in. And the weeds, once in a while we'll get a weed in the box, and you can just pick it out and throw it away. It's so easy. So for watering, this pipe going down the center waters only the roots of the plant. That's the purpose of having it down. You can see that it's down near the soil, but it's sitting on these blocks here. That keeps it up off the surface so that it doesn't get bacteria inside the pipe. Because if you're using drip lines or soaker hoses, anything like that, you're getting bacteria in the pipe or in the hose that spreads through the garden. If you're doing overhead watering, honestly what you're doing is watering all the weeds. Because in the plant world you have trees, then you have weeds, and then you have the stuff that you plant that you want to grow. Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising that the weeds take over sometimes. All we do is water the roots of the plants underneath the leaves, and we only water for 60 to 90 seconds per row per day. We just had a heat wave come through. We're here in Michigan. We had 90-degree weather for, what, a week?
A week, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so during that time we would water 60 seconds in the morning, 60 seconds towards evening, so that the plants could drink it up overnight.
That's not very much time for each day. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just run from a hose, and it just has a manifold that runs, it's just under the ground, so you don't have to bury it, you don't have to worry about frost line, anything like that. We drain it out when we go into winter and don't worry about it.
If you had a favorite spot in the garden, where's your favorite spot?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably my favorite spot would be on that bench right there. Mom and I will sit here with our coffee in the morning and just talk about the things that need to be done that day. And sometimes we sit here for a long time and sometimes for just a few minutes.
Okay, so what's this little box over here?
Okay, this box is the seed box. This is my seed area, and you don't want to have seeds in your regular garden if you can help it, because the plants that you're growing for seed take a lot longer in the season. So you're just tying your garden space up a lot longer than you need to. This is my seed box and experimental area. These are Danvers carrots, and carrots are what's called a biennial, and that means that they grow seed every other year. So you grow a carrot, and then you save that carrot and plant that carrot the next year, and that's what you get after you plant it the second year. That's when it grows this seed.
See, I guess I thought that, like, they just grew seed all the time, that you could just plant. But see, I guess I don't know anything.
Well, now you do.
I'm learning.
Well, you know what? It's great that you're asking questions.
Yeah, I just think it's so, it's beautiful. The whole garden in general is beautiful. I love how you guys have it set up, and it's just pleasant to walk through, and I like the idea of being self-sustained and growing your own food, but like there's just so much I don't know.
Until I discovered this method, and by the way, I only got involved in gardening because when my father was passing away, my sister, he said, take care of Mom, take care of my garden. Well, this was literally weeds this high all the time, and he tried and tried and tried. He tried till the day he was not able to even move to keep his garden, and he just never got ahead of the weeds.
I remember him walking through the garden with his
Yes, oxygen tank. Yes, exactly. By the way, he would have loved this.
He would have. I said that earlier. I was like, Grandpa would love
He would have loved this. My sister promised on his deathbed that we would take care of Mom and take care of his garden. So I said, we are so hosed. Okay, you get Mom, I'll figure out the garden thing, because I was like you.
Yeah.
I mean, the family joke was that I killed plastic plants. So
and now look at you.
Yeah, now look at this.
Amazing.
And Mom never did any of the gardening when Dad was here. And now she is my partner in gardening.
He probably wouldn't believe it.
He wouldn't believe it.
See it. What's your favorite plant to work with?
Probably tomatoes. because so many people understand them a little bit more, and they've tried them, and they've either tried and had success, or they've tried and failed. And if they've tried and failed, I can help. If they've never tried, I can't help.
My father-in-law failed many years trying to grow tomatoes. He did get a few tomatoes the one year, but he really struggled with tomatoes. But he wanted them because he loves tomatoes. And there's so many kinds of tomatoes.
There are, I think I saw 400 varieties of tomatoes. Tomatoes are kind of a flashy, they're very popular. They're the most popular home garden plant.
Probably, yeah. Okay, so your pumpkins, they're
Yeah.
growing up these vines.
Uh-huh.
Once they start to produce, I mean, the weight of the pumpkin would pull on this. So how do you compensate for that?
First off, this is a 170-pound test line.
Oh wow. Okay.
So unless this plant has 170 pounds,
It wouldn't snap the plant
won't.
though?
no. Because, and the reason it doesn't snap the plant is that the weight is on the string. If you lift that, you'll feel that.
Okay. Because I normally see these kinds of things growing on the ground. And they grow so these would just grow like hanging.
Yeah, they grow just like that. They reach out with these tendrils and they grab each other and they grab the strings. You can see, here's
Like
one.
you can see here, it's all wrapped. Yeah.
Yeah, here's a good example because this springiness here allows them to move in the wind.
Oh yeah. And then they wouldn't snap right.
They don't snap. It has a lot of give to it, just like a spring.
Yeah, and that just helps them hold on so that
Right.
just hold on even more than.
A lot of plants, they have male and female flowers.
Now when it's a fully produced like squash, whatever, you can tell by looking at it if it's male or female.
They're all female in the store because only the females produce the fruit.
Oh, so that's how you know this is female.
That's how I know that's a female.
And then this is just like a flower?
That's a
or-
flower. But you need both to pollinate. You
So,
see?
okay, I heard this about bell peppers. I heard
Okay.
that there's male and female in like the bumps on the bottom. Like, what is it? The male has 3 bumps and the female has 4, or the other way.
I've heard
Is that true?
That, you can research that all day long and you will get yes and no.
Okay, because I've heard that, but like with this, only the female produces fruit. So I didn't
Correct.
know if, because bell peppers are already the fruit.
I haven't proven it right or wrong, and I don't really care because I just eat the
Right,
peppers.
I just
eat the
Now,
peppers and save
here's
the
a
seeds.
question of questions.
Okay.
A tomato, is it a vegetable or a fruit?
I'm not going to do that. I'm also not going to tell you if it's a tomato or a tomato because you can't win that one.
Because I heard somewhere that watermelon are actually vegetable because they're in the squash family.
I would believe that.
So,
I don't know if the logic is good.
is it true though that they are either a fruit or a vegetable, the tomato?
Well, it would have to be one or the other.
Right, I don't know, because I just always wonder, like, because people will say, oh no, it's a fruit, it's a vegetable, and I didn't know if maybe
Well, if-
working with tomatoes, if you knew
no,
if it was a fruit or vegetable. They taste good, that's all.
they taste good and they grow well.
They taste better with vegetables.
Yeah,
than-
true.
So, I just think of it as a vegetable because it tastes better with vegetables, but I've heard it's a fruit, so I don't know. I wouldn't put it in a fruit salad.
I wouldn't put it in a fruit salad either. That would be
I
nasty.
wouldn't put it on my cereal. Okay, so I noticed how clean and neat all these pathways are. How do you avoid weeds?
Well, first off, we don't put anything in the aisle. The aisle is just plain dirt, and it's based on the pathway. Because if you walk from the house to the garage, house to the garage, house to the garage, and you walk the same path every day, pretty soon nothing will grow there. That's what we do here, is we just keep walking in the same area. The other thing that we use is this handy tool. It's called a two-way hoe, or a Kenya hoe. And all you do is just drag it through and you cut off the top. Oh, there's a weed, look.
Here's one.
Yeah, see these right here, those are actual weeds in the garden.
Amazing.
Okay, and all you do is you take the hoe and you just go like that, and they all disappear. And see, that's all it takes. Because what you're doing is cutting off the top of the weed, and if the weed doesn't have a top, it's not going to grow. All we do is go through the garden like this.
And you said you do this like every 2 weeks? You go through and do it?
Twice a week.
Oh, twice a week. Okay.
Yeah, and it takes about 15 minutes to go through the whole garden.
But you're walking it anyway. So.
Yeah, you're just walking it, looking at the plants, checking it, looking for any issues or anything out of the ordinary.
This is amazing. I loved seeing this and kind of learning more about it. And like we learned things that weren't even on here, but I'm excited to learn more. If someone was wanting to learn more about this, how do you go about, like, do you teach about it? I know you said something about designing. Tell us a little bit about.
I do consulting. I have website is thevegielady.biz. It's VEGIE lady.biz. The Veggie Lady.
Veggie Lady.
The Veggie Lady. Yeah.
All the contact information for my Aunt Troy is going to be in the description box below, so you can check any of that out. And we'll link some of the different supplies and items that you use, and we'll link those in the description box so that you can check out that stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining
you're
us. This is
welcome.
amazing.
Thank
I've
you.
heard about it more than I've ever seen it. So thank you for joining us today, and we hope you come back for more. And please contact my aunt and ask her about stuff. Ask questions and start a garden. Peace.